You're sitting on the couch. Nothing big happened. It was small. You made a comment about dinner or about how late it's getting or about the tone in their voice. They respond, but it's shorter than usual. Their eyes shift away a half second too quickly. Their shoulders tighten just enough that most people would miss it. But you don't miss it. Your body registers it instantly. Your chest tightens, your stomach drops, your brain starts scanning. Did I say something wrong? Are they annoyed? Is this about earlier? You feel the urge rise before you consciously decide anything. Say something. Lighten the mood. Fix it before it turns into a thing. So you soften, you laugh, you apologize. You ask, are we okay? You smooth the moment before it grows, because you know how this goes. If tension lingers, it expands. If it expands, it becomes distance, and distance feels unbearable. If that scene feels familiar, this episode is for you. You're listening to Coupled With, the podcast that helps you take the guesswork out of feeling seen, heard, and valued in your relationship. If you've ever felt stuck in the same arguments, struggled to stay connected, or wondered how to better communicate with your partner, you're in the right place. I'm Dr. Rachel Orlick, a couples therapist and coach, and together, we're going to make relationships make sense. Let's dive in. You're the one who feels the tension first, the one who reaches out first, the one who says, can we talk about what just happened? You track closeness like it's your job. You monitor shifts in tone, energy, and pace. And when something feels off, you move toward it. You tell yourself it's because you care, because you value communication, because you don't want resentment to build. And all of that may be true, but underneath that strength is often something quieter. A subtle exhaustion, a frustration you don't always say out loud. Why am I always the one initiating? Why do I care this much? Why does it feel like I'm the emotional grown-up here? And yet, even when you're tired of it, you don't stop, because your nervous system learned a long time ago that someone has to stabilize the room. That's not dramatic. It makes you adaptive. But here's the uncomfortable truth. All that effort hasn't necessarily made the relationship feel safer. It's made it steadier, sure, maybe a little bit more functional and less explosive. And over time, the relationship will start to organize around that. Here's how the pattern usually forms. A client once told me that they didn't remember deciding to be like this. It's just always been there. When she was little, she was the one who noticed when her dad's silence meant anger, the one who changed the subject when her parents' voices started to rise, the one who made herself easy and agreeable and low maintenance. She was praised for being mature, sensitive, for being emotionally intelligent, and those qualities became part of her identity. Fast forward 20 years, she's in a relationship with someone she truly loves. And she's still scanning. If there's tension, she's going to feel it first. If there's distance, she'll name it first. If there's a misunderstanding, she initiates the repair. For a long time, that felt like a strength in her relationship. Conflicts don't explode and issues get addressed promptly. The relationship looks stable. But underneath, something else was happening. Every time tension rises and you regulate it quickly, the system settles. And because it settles quickly, your partner never has to sit in that discomfort long enough to feel the internal pull to reach. No one here is malicious. No one is consciously opting out. Relationships organize around patterns. If one person consistently manages the emotional climate, the other person unconsciously adapts out. When you are always the thermostat, lowering the temperature before it spikes, the room never gets uncomfortable enough for anyone else to learn how to adjust it. It's not that your partner is incapable, it's that the system doesn't require them to stretch. And here's the part that can be pretty hard to hear. When you regulate the system first every time, your partner gets access to your competence. They see how good you are at repair. They don't always see how much it costs you. In attachment language, this is often the pursuing position. When connection feels threatened, your body moves toward. You feel distance is danger, so you try to close the gap. You text first, bring it up first, apologize first. You don't consciously think, I must manage this relationship. But your body just reacts. And if you grew up in a home where tension meant withdrawal, where anger meant unpredictability, and where silence meant disconnection, your nervous system learned to intervene early, to prevent escalation, to keep the bond intact. So it's not a weakness. Like I said, it's adaptation. Your system became exquisitely sensitive to shifts in connection. But when you regulate first every time, your partner doesn't experience the full arc of discomfort. They don't sit in tension long enough to feel the impulse to reach out. And over time, that's going to shape both of you. You become hyper-aware, hyper-responsible. And meanwhile, your partner may become less practiced at noticing and initiating. Not because they don't care, but because the system doesn't demand it. Your strategy preserves the bond, but it may also be limiting shared growth. Okay, I'm going to pause here for just a second, because if you're listening and thinking, oh, this is me, I'm the one keeping the peace, I'm the one over-explaining, I'm the one trying to manage the temperature of the relationship, I want you to know this isn't just a personality trait, and it's not something you fix by communicating better. I created a private audio series called When Love Feels Like Too Much for exactly this pattern. It's not more theory, it's not recycled podcast content, it's a guided walkthrough of what's happening in your nervous system, why you feel responsible for keeping everything steady, and how to start finding balance again without fixing, explaining, or disappearing. It's for the person who's willing to look at their own patterns. It's not for blaming your partner, and it's definitely not for quick fixes that don't work long-term anyway. If you already read the books and listened to the podcast, but still feel stuck in the same cycle, this is the application layer. It's $37, it's private, and you can start immediately. The link's in the show notes. Okay, let's keep going with today's episode. So let's come back to this. If you're the one who always feels it first, the one who reaches, the one who repairs first, what does shifting this actually look like in real life? Let me be clear. The alternative is not silence. It's not waiting to see if they read your mind, and it's not testing them to prove that they care. That's protest behavior, and that's resentment brewing. The shift is much more subtle. Instead of pre-managing the moment alone, you invite your partner into it. Tension shows up, you feel the urge to soothe it. But instead of immediately lowering the temperature, you slow down just enough to name your internal experience. I notice I'm feeling anxious about what happened. Or, I felt a little alone there. Can we talk about it? You're not withholding repair. You're refusing to do both sides of it. You're allowing your vulnerability to be visible before you stabilize the room. That's how shared capacity builds. This shift requires tolerating discomfort. When you don't immediately smooth things over, there may be a pause or awkwardness. Your partner might not respond perfectly. and your nervous system will want to jump back in and fix it. That half a second before you move is where the real work lives. Notice how fast you go. Notice how quickly you apologize. How often you explain their behavior before you name your own hurt. Speed has served you, but speed also hides this pattern. When you move that quickly, you prevent the relationship from stretching. Slowing down doesn't mean becoming cold. It means allowing the tension to exist long enough for both people to feel it. And when both people feel it, both people have the opportunity to reach. If you're the pursuing partner, part of your growth is learning that distance doesn't automatically equal abandonment. That silence does not automatically equal rejection. Your body may react as though it does, but growth means gently updating that wiring. It means saying, I can tolerate this moment without collapsing into panic. And from that steadier place, you can invite connection instead of demanding it. There's a difference between, why are you pulling away? And, when you got quiet just now, I felt scared. Can you help me understand what's happening? One is pressure. The other is vulnerability. And vulnerability gives your partner something to respond to. It allows them to see you, not just your competence. You can love someone deeply and still say, I can't be the only one who notices and initiates. It's not withdrawal. That's partnership. Real closeness isn't built on one person stabilizing the system while the other stays comfortable. It's built when both people feel the tension, name their experience, and reach. You don't have to stop caring. You don't have to become less emotionally intelligent. And you don't have to become avoidant in order to create balance. You simply have to stop building the bridge alone. And that may feel unfamiliar at first. It may even feel risky. But shared responsibility is what allows a relationship to move from functional to reciprocal, from steady to secure. If you recognize yourself in this pattern, start small. You don't need to overhaul your entire dynamic overnight. Begin by noticing. Notice the moment when you smooth. Notice the flicker of anxiety that says, handle this now. And experiment with revealing one more layer than you normally would. Not in an accusatory way, not in a dramatic way, just honestly. That's how new patterns form. Not through force, but through repeated vulnerable turns towards each other. Your nervous system learned to protect connection by carrying it. Now it gets to learn that connection can be shared. And shared connection is lighter. It's less lonely. It's built by two people reaching, not one person holding everything together. If you want the guided version of this work, my private audio series is linked in the show notes. You can start anytime. That's it for today's episode of Coupled With. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to hit subscribe so you never miss what's next. And if you found it helpful, please share it with a friend or leave a quick rating and review. It really helps more than you know. And if you're curious about how we might work together or want more resources to strengthen your relationship, head over to my website, www.drrachelorlick.com. You'll find free tools, podcast extras, and ways to go deeper. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you next time.